I want to say thank you to Roger for inviting me to read with him, and congratulations on your book. And thanks to Larry and Moonstone for having me, and thanks to all of you for coming. Um, I'm fortunate to be in a little critique group with both Roger and Lisa and a couple of other folks who are here tonight, which I'm very happy about. So I will be reading a mix of some older and some more recent work tonight. Announcement. Divorce, a razor slice of a word, divided them awkwardly. Dad changed his address. Mom kept his name. I said he'd traveled on business anyway. The tap hammer hit the ice. A slow spread of cracks drew a map in me for shrinks and poems to scratch at. Each of us on a separate flow turned toward a different pole. My brother pushing me under, my father frozen, my mother floating too far to call. Silence seals the spaces between us now. My memory twists out of sight with the facts and histories that lie dusty in the corners of the house on Thompson Street. But artifacts surface. The banana milkshakes my dad taught me to make in the blender with milk, a dash of vanilla. And the clear as glass night we ate pizza while mom went out and dad, duly elected, made the announcement that stopped me mid-chew. This is called Down Days. 1. Sly seducer, you are the bad boyfriend with knowing hands who coaxes me in and leaves me bottomed out. You've come around since those days in junior high when I curled on mom's brown couch instead of going to school, struck by a nameless weight. I hit the couch with you now and you claim me there, drape my limbs. Even my eyelids grow heavy. I say I don't want you, but when you tell me I don't have to fight, I give in, old comfort, old wound reopened. 2. Darkness eats the edges of my vision, and a deep silence beats behind the voices on the radio, the TV. People stare too directly, and their laughter rings too loud. Relief flows only in the shutting of my apartment door, the ceiling out. My bed pulls me toward the retreat of sleep, the dishes in the sink, the half-written page, every undone task towers into impossibility. How have I ever showered and gone to work? That other self is a distant rumor. Every day has been this way and will be. 3. By one definition, it is a chemical lack, chemically correctable, but the pills miss their mark in a vast blackness that swallows them and mocks their promises. Or it is a product of negative thinking that I can reroute with positive statements. I did good things today. Doggedly, I write them down. I talk by the 50-minute hour about what happened and how I feel. But it rises from all causes and none, seeping through the windows and under the doors to coat my useless words. 4. It mixes with me, a dark stench or its memory that stays in my nostrils, a weight that squeezes my diaphragm. When it recedes, I flood with the sweetness of merely breathing, and the light, when it comes, shines more silvery, more delicate and bright. And this is called Death of a Salt Shaker. Pepper Frog stands suddenly alone on the broad expanse of shelf. Dwarfed by a clutter of vases, he stares hollowly across the kitchen toward the garbage can in which the grisly evidence lies, the still intact head of Salt Frog, bereft of body and the brittle rubber plug that held the salt in, hidden under a crumpled paper shroud amidst the shocking white of broken pottery, salt frog's googly eyes accuse me. Pepper frog alone seems unbalanced, obsolete. In the broken set, I have lost a tie to a long lost home. They were an impulse buy on a carefree day in a Lewisberry antique shop. Someone's vacation trinkets, gaudy message stamped across their bellies in mysterious quotation marks. Capture an Ocean City memory. I pin wild hopes on eBay, but if I bought another pair, would Pepper Frog remain forever unbalanced, perhaps longing himself for the garbage can? Pepper Frog alone will join me in yet another home. His mouth, a wide, flat line, is neither smile nor frown, though his eyes maintain an expression of faint apprehension. His slightly hunched body, yellowish and bumpy, stands ready, a stoic soldier, a widower in perpetual silent mourning. And perhaps switching gears just a little bit, this little poem is called Divine Intervention. I message men on plenty of fish. They don't write back. My ego sags. However, I do receive emails from Pet Finder saying I have new matches. What is God trying to say? And a perhaps related poem in two parts. This is called AKA. 1. Riley. I carefully chose the puppy and the name. As he grew, morphed to Ribi, raising the brows of fellow walkers who heard rabbi, occasionally ribeye, evolved to bye-byes or Mr. Bye-byes, shortened to byes, lengthened again to Bybinskis. Woodgie Bear emerged from the ether as I stroked his silky head. Who's a woodgie bear? Then Riley, who loves a pat to his puffy rear, became Bum, then Bumpkin, then Bumpkin Pumpkin, my grinning shadow guardian. 2. Rudy. He arrived with a different name that I feared would stick. At the start, formal, I called him only by his one official new name. Then, loosening, Rudinsky, a door opened. He became Rue, then Regal the Rue. His tail began to thump when I walked by. On came Roo-Boo, Boo-Boo, Mr. Boo, the Boo Man, which morphed to Boo Manchu, occasionally even Boo Boo Mancini, my funny, old-souled observer. When I first moved to the Philadelphia area some, 15, 17 years ago, taking public transportation was relatively new to me. And out of that experience, I wrote the following poem called Train. I want to gawk at each fellow rider, the sweaty businessman, the woman with tiny braids, but the straight ahead stares discourage curiosity. The stony faces rumble along, patient as death. They know the codes of this world, which stop is which. They know what doors will open to the platform, and they rise to line the aisle, purposeful as Christians at communion. They fill the time, create their own separate spheres with cell phones at their center. I learn the rhythm, the stops. I sit for half an hour and don't look at the face 20 inches away. But in the crack beneath the stillness, the riders lean toward each other. A smile of recognition splits the grimness. A space expands with chatter. When some flaky lady loses her ticket, people lift their feet to look. When I get stuck standing bunched next to the woman who always knits, She tells me how strangers handed her tissues in plastic bags when she got sick. We're all in this together, she says, and the others nod. We brace ourselves and balance carefully. Against the intermittent, garbled blare of the loudspeaker, we sway, rubbing thighs with unchosen partners. The kid with baggy pants and headphones listens to music so loud we all hear it, but no one says a thing. The sun-seared college girls slide by in their flip-flops and ponytails, jaws working. A craggy-faced man in paint-stained shoes swigs milk from the jug. We sink into ourselves. Next to me, a fat woman stirs and groans softly. Weary, wary, we stare ahead and wait for our stop, where the doors will open and, on a good day, the conductor will say, "Watch your step." I have just a couple left, but this is a little mini collection of 3 sonnets in honor of Roger, which collectively I call Victor. 1. Survive. Victor is an exclamation point. He stabs out his place in the air, precise. Little white scars snake across his hands. Next to his, my skin seems soft, untried. Victor's not one of those fancy karate guys, all belt and bluster. He doesn't want me to bow too deeply or call him sensei. Fuck that shit, he says. Victor learned to fight for real in El Salvador, on the street, always the smallest kid, and in the army. He killed some people, maybe, but I bet there were some he could have and didn't. Like worshippers, we arrive at the gym on Sundays, meeting at the juncture of our lives, and Victor, kind and gentle, teaches me to survive. 2. Victor as knife. Victor has honed his body like a knife, so hard and quiet he barely seems to breathe. He started when he was a kid, didn't cry when he dripped hot wax on his thigh just to see if he could take it. At 15, he lied to get into the Salvadoran army, learned to stay awake and see at night, caught and cut up iguanas to eat. On patrol, told himself that he was made of metal, couldn't be pierced. 5 countries later, he waves away my money. He didn't pay that way for what he knows about pain, pressure points, blades. Armorless now, he shows me how to pin him and swears out loud and grins each time I win. 3. The point. Fingers wrapped around my neck. Victor presses the point where life meets skin. He pushes my elbow almost to the break, knows the limits of trust, muscle, and sinew. I throw myself bulldogish into this game, shoulder blades bruising against the grimy floor. I grapple with the art of inducing pain, finding escape. Joint lock, takedown, control. Victor, quick, slips past my grasp to trap me. Sullen, my body threatens to let itself be killed until I claw past torpor, unearth the desire to lift myself from harm's way. Shaken awake, I find this death game shoving me toward life. This one is called 102. My mom sent the photo. My grandmother gathered with family. I see more than intended. Anger uncurls. At the sweatshirt thoughtlessly arranged, uneven around her shoulders, her single breast. At the pant legs allowed to ride up her calves, splayed in the wheelchair. And at time, which has put in my grandmother's eyes, despite her lifted chin and attempt at a smile, something I don't want to name. I'll read my last poem now, and I just want to say thank you again to all of you for tonight. This is called Return. I returned from a month in Tennessee. To hell and back? I am changed. All is changed. My loss a grievous injury, the month a rush from which images protrude like icebergs, his hand flashing open like a starfish searching for mine, his focused stare as he tries to breathe, the monitor numbers blinking warning, warning. Don't be afraid to float alone. Is floating what I'm doing now? Certainly I am unmoored. Half of me half believes that if I hit that number on my phone, he would answer. By day, he blurs incomplete. He appears most clearly in my dreams, his absence a cavity, a black hole with its own unfailing pull. Thank you.